People raised in super chaotic environments where the parents yelled a lot, they were angry a lot, they were happy, where you never knew what to expect, what I call eggshell families, are the heart of what creates chronic hypervigilance in us as adults. What does it look like in you? These are the symptoms. Now we're just going to focus on the emotional and interpersonal symptoms, but there are also physical and behavioral symptoms. Number one, you're a chronic worrier. In your mind, you're always running scenarios like a computer about the worst case scenarios that could happen, the accidents, the illnesses, your own loss of yourself in this world. It is always about persistent and chronic worry and often towards bad case scenarios. You are highly sensitive and reactive to everything. Temperature changes, sounds, noises, smells, lights, whatever it is, it's like your body is always on high alert, detecting any shifts, and it's often very uncomfortable for you. You often feel, and often even if you were a child, you were just annoyed and uncomfortable in your body by a lot of things that you felt bad about then, but now you realize how truly uncomfortable you were. You could have really emotional extremes in some way that just rise up inside of you where you feel like, where did that just come from? But you have really intense emotional responses. Sometimes you hide that behind the facade of like, I'm fine, but deep inside you feel like there's kind of a volcano going on a lot of the time inside. Social situations are stressful for you. Even though you might say yes to something and you're fine, when it finally rolls around, you will dread it. You will want to make up excuses and play out scenarios to get out of it. When you're in social situations, you're like hovering above yourself, analyzing what you're doing with your body and what people think about you, and if they're mad at you or if they like you or what dumb thing you said. And then when you leave, you often think, oh, that wasn't that bad. But what later gets you is the rerunning in your tape in the mind of your mind about all the mistakes you could have made or the ways that you're not good enough. Along those lines, you take things really personally. You're very sensitive because you're scanning at all times for that feeling of rejection or not being enough, that everything just feels like it kind of hurts you. And people, they might just be giving you feedback, but feedback, even if it's just in the most beautiful way, often feels like criticism. Even if you know up here it doesn't, inside you do feel that way. You are an extreme focuser on people's faces and tone of voice and nonverbal communication as much as their verbal communication. And you can make up a whole story and meaning about what that means or says. And it almost always comes back to you in your mind that you did something wrong. They're mad at you. It's your fault, whatever that is. And lastly, you feel like you're kind of low key beefing with people in your mind a lot. You have a lot of easy triggers and annoyances. You are an easily triggered person, even if you try to hide it. And you don't necessarily want to have conflict about it, but you're holding all of that in your body at all times.